Picture yourself standing at the kitchen counter on an ordinary Tuesday morning, coffee brewing, sunlight filtering through the window. Everything feels normal until it doesn't. Your hand suddenly feels strange, heavy, like it belongs to someone else. You try to set down your mug, but your fingers won't cooperate. When you open your mouth to call for help, the words come out jumbled, foreign. This is how strokes often begin, not with drama, but with a quiet shift that makes you pause and wonder if something is terribly wrong. I'm Dr. Naira Stein, and for the past 5 years, I've worked with older adults navigating the realities of aging. I've sat with families in emergency rooms. I've watched people recover against all odds. And I've learned that when it comes to stroke, the difference between recovery and lasting damage often comes down to what happens in those first critical minutes, before the ambulance arrives, before the hospital doors open. Today, I want to walk you through something most people never learn, what your body can do to protect itself when seconds matter most. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear could change everything. Here's something that might surprise you. Every 40 seconds, someone in this country experiences a stroke, not in some distant hospital or news story, right here among people just like us. And yet, most of us have never been taught what to actually do when those first warning signs appear. We know to call for help, that much is clear. But while we wait, those agonizing minutes before trained responders arrive, our bodies have natural defense mechanisms we can activate. Simple positioning, intentional breathing, small actions that can help preserve blood flow to the brain when every moment counts. Let me tell you about someone who understood this. Her name was Margaret, and she was 68 when it happened to her. One moment she was pouring her morning coffee, the next her left arm simply stopped working. Her husband heard the mug shatter on the floor. When he rushed in, he saw her face, one side slack, her speech coming out in fragments. But Margaret didn't panic. She had learned about stroke response in a community health class months earlier. While her husband called the ambulance, she lowered herself to the floor. She positioned her body carefully, elevated her legs on a cushion, and began breathing slowly, deliberately. By the time paramedics arrived 7 minutes later, her speech had already started coming back. Later, the emergency room doctor told her family something remarkable. Her response likely prevented permanent brain injury. Not medication, not medical equipment, just knowledge, calm, and a body positioned to help itself survive. Before we talk about what to do, let's understand what's actually happening during a stroke. Your brain is like a city at night. Millions of connections, all dependent on a constant flow of oxygen-rich blood. When one of those pathways becomes blocked, even briefly, part of that system goes dark. Sometimes the lights flicker back on within moments. Doctors call this a transient ischemic attack, a TIA. People often dismiss it because the symptoms fade. An arm feels heavy, then normal again. Words disappear mid-sentence, then return. Vision blurs, then clears. But here's what matters. When symptoms fade, the danger hasn't passed. Your brain has just sent you its clearest warning signal. A full stroke may be minutes or hours away. The challenge is recognizing these moments for what they are. Many of us were raised not to fuss over ourselves. We push through discomfort. We don't want to bother anyone or make a scene. So when something feels off, when one side of the face droops for just a moment, or words come out scrambled, we tell ourselves it will pass. That quiet stoicism, that habit of endurance, can be dangerous when it comes to stroke. Because the window between warning and damage is measured in minutes, not hours. So what are the signs you should never ignore? Let me be clear and specific. Sudden weakness or numbness on one side of your body, arm, leg, or face. Difficulty speaking or understanding simple words, as if your language center has momentarily short-circuited. Drooping on one side of the face, like half of it stopped responding. Vision that suddenly blurs or darkens in one or both eyes. Dizziness or loss of balance that appears without explanation. A severe headache that strikes without any clear cause. Here's the part that catches people off guard. These symptoms can last 60 seconds and then vanish, and when they disappear, we relax. We think we're safe. We're not. When symptoms fade, it means the clock has started. This is your body's fire alarm. Now let's talk about what you can do in those crucial first minutes. This isn't about replacing emergency care. You still need to call for help immediately. But while you wait, your body has natural mechanisms you can activate to help protect your brain. The moment you notice stroke symptoms, your first priority is safety. Sit down immediately. If possible, lie down. Preventing a fall matters as much as anything else you'll do. If you can safely lower yourself to the floor or a bed, do so. Once you're down, elevate your legs about 12 inches. Use pillows, cushions, even the seat of a chair. This simple position change helps blood that pools in your legs return to your chest and then move upward toward your brain. You're using gravity as a tool, redirecting your body's circulation to where it's needed most urgently. But positioning alone isn't enough. This is where breathing becomes your lifeline. Begin slow, controlled breaths. Breathe in gently through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 2, then exhale slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. This pattern does 2 essential things. First, it increases oxygen in your bloodstream, oxygen your brain desperately needs. Second, it calms your nervous system, which helps stabilize blood pressure. Both matter enormously when your brain is under threat. Research published in recent years has shown that people who use this combination, leg elevation plus controlled breathing, during early stroke symptoms showed better recovery outcomes and less permanent damage compared to those who simply waited without taking action. This isn't magic, it's biology. You're buying time, keeping oxygenated blood moving to your brain until professional help arrives. In stroke medicine, time is measured in brain cells. Minutes can mean the difference between full recovery and lasting disability. Here's something else most people don't realize. When you're frightened, when your body isn't responding normally, panic becomes its own kind of danger. Panic causes rapid, shallow breathing. It constricts blood vessels. It robs your brain of the very oxygen it needs most. But when you have a clear action to take, lie down, elevate your legs, breathe with intention, panic loses its grip. You're no longer helpless. You're working with your body, activating its survival systems. That sense of purpose, that small measure of control, can make all the difference in how your brain weathers those critical early minutes. Let me be absolutely clear about something. If you or someone near you shows these warning signs, your goal is not to test whether it will pass. Your goal is not to see if you can walk it off. Your goal is to get horizontal, elevate those legs, control your breathing, and let gravity work in your favor while someone calls for emergency help. These are simple actions. No medications required, no special equipment, just positioning, breathing, and the understanding that your body has remarkable capacity to protect itself when you know how to work with it. Now I want to talk about something that fills me with genuine hope, your brain's ability to heal itself, even after damage. I've watched patients regain speech months after doctors thought it was lost forever. I've seen people relearn to walk, to use their hands, to recognize faces again. The brain isn't a fixed machine. It's adaptive, resilient. When one pathway is damaged, other pathways can learn to take over that function. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to rewire itself. Think of it like a city's road network. When a major highway closes, traffic doesn't stop permanently. It finds alternate routes. Side streets become main thoroughfares. Over time, with use, those new routes become permanent. Your brain works the same way. But here's what matters, that rebuilding begins early. The first days and weeks after a stroke set the foundation. What you do during recovery, how you move, how you rest, what you eat, all of it sends signals to your brain that say, reconnect, adapt, rebuild. Research has shown that people who engage in gentle, deliberate movement after stroke, even simple seated exercises, are twice as likely to regain balance and cognitive function compared to those who remain inactive. Twice as likely. That's not a minor difference. That's a fundamentally different future. And recovery doesn't require expensive equipment or elite facilities. It can begin at home, in a chair, with intention. Small movements, practiced consistently, signal your brain to reopen those pathways. A few focused minutes every day matters more than occasional marathon therapy sessions. Nutrition plays a vital role too. What you eat directly affects how well blood flows and how efficiently your brain heals. Foods rich in omega-3 fats, antioxidants, and natural compounds that support circulation. Salmon, leafy greens, berries, even moderate amounts of dark chocolate, all contribute to recovery. A major study from Harvard found that older adults following a Mediterranean-style eating pattern had 30% lower risk of having another stroke over 5 years. 30%. That's not trivial. That's a profoundly different trajectory. Recovery isn't about luck or miracles. It's about biology, your body's natural capacity to heal when given the right conditions. Consistent movement, quality rest, nourishing food. These aren't optional. They're fundamental to how your brain rebuilds itself. For those of you who have never had a stroke, the real question becomes, what daily habits protect your brain before danger ever appears? The answer comes down to one word: circulation. When blood moves freely, your brain thrives. When flow becomes restricted, often years before symptoms appear, damage begins silently. This is where prevention becomes powerful. One of the most effective habits I teach is what I call a morning activation, getting blood moving within minutes of waking. Here's how it works. The moment you wake, before you even stand, sit on the edge of your bed. Take 3 slow, deep breaths, filling your lungs completely. This oxygenates your blood right from the start. Next, gently pump your calves by lifting your heels and toes in a steady rhythm for about a minute. This activates a muscle called the soleus, sometimes called your body's second heart, because it helps push blood upward from your legs toward your heart and brain. Then slowly rotate your shoulders and neck, unhurried, easing your body into the day. These movements sound almost too simple to matter, but research shows they reduce morning blood pressure spikes and improve brain blood flow by nearly 20%. No equipment, no gym, no strain, just awareness and gentle movement. Your brain responds to rhythm, calf pumping, deep breathing, slow stretching. Each signals your cardiovascular system to deliver oxygen where it's needed most. Pair this with hydration, a glass of water before your morning coffee, and you give your blood the best possible start. A study following older adults over 5 years found that those practicing short morning circulation routines consistently scored higher on memory tests than those who didn't. That's not coincidence. That's biology responding to daily care. But prevention goes beyond movement. Sleep quality matters enormously. Emotional calm matters. Chronic stress constricts blood vessels, but laughter, connection, and moments of peace help vessels relax and open. Simple pleasures, walking in sunlight, listening to music you love, spending time with people who bring you ease, these aren't just nice. They stimulate nitric oxide, a molecule that keeps arteries flexible and responsive. Flexible arteries are exactly what your brain needs for long-term protection. This shifts how we think about health, not something we reach for only when we're sick, but something woven into daily life, something practiced quietly, consistently, without fear. Let me return to Margaret one more time. When her symptoms struck that morning, she didn't freeze. She didn't panic. She remembered what she'd learned. She lay down, elevated her legs, and began breathing with purpose while her husband called for help. By the time paramedics arrived, her speech was already returning. Later, her doctor told the family that her calm response likely prevented lasting brain damage. That's the power of preparation. Knowledge transforms panic into purpose. Purpose protects the brain. This isn't about living in fear of stroke. It's about living with readiness. Readiness gives you power. It gives your family peace of mind. It means that if the moment ever comes, you won't be helpless. You'll know exactly what to do. Aging doesn't mean inevitable decline. It means greater awareness. You can strengthen circulation. You can nourish your brain with every choice. You can train your body to respond when seconds matter most. So remember this one clear sequence. When blood flow slows, don't panic. Lie down. Elevate your legs. Breathe slowly. In for 4, hold for 2, out for 6. Let gravity help you. Simple, clear, potentially life-saving. If you found this helpful, share it with someone you care about, a parent, a friend, a neighbor, because the next life these actions protect might be someone you love dearly. Practice this technique. Lie down, elevate those legs, breathe with intention. Make it familiar so that in a critical moment, your body knows exactly what to do without thinking. Your body is wiser than you know. It will fight for you when given the chance. All you need is the knowledge of how to work with it. Stay aware, stay calm. Your health is worth protecting every single day.